We're going to get started by coming into a comfortable cross-legged seat. And today, if you do not have it already, we'll want to have a yoga strap, a towel. You could use a necktie, a cloth belt, but have that handy for our hip opener later in the class. And you can set that like at the very back of your mat. Starting in your cross-legged seated position, take one hand to the heart and the other hand above your heart. Go ahead and close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, begin to feel the rise and fall of your breath. One of the ways in which we can think less on our yoga mats is to tap into the feeling of our breath, to breathe with awareness and consciousness. To allow our purposeful breathing to anchor us to the moment. And when we're present, there's just what's here. Right? What you hear in the music, maybe the temperature of the room that you are in. The sensation and feeling of your breath. Other ways that we can use our yoga practice to think less is to feel more. Right? To feel more within the pose by paying close attention, observing our experience, being a witness to the yoga pose in the body. Sometimes moving more helps us think less. Breathing more, feeling more, moving more, and thinking less. As we set the intention to think less, begin to make some sound with your breath, or Ujjayi Pranayama. When you breathe in through the nose, draw the air in as if you were drawing in through a straw. When you exhale through the nose, keep your lips closed and imagine that you're fogging up a mirror. Keep breathing in and out through the nose, lips sealed, like trying to fog up a mirror through the nose. Whenever we move, the mind moves away from the present moment. Use your Ujjayi breath to help your mind come back. Encouraging the mind to come back over and over again is a practice. And this is a practice. Take one more breath in. Now on the exhalation, open your eyes and find your way into a tabletop position. Once we're in tabletop pose, we have the hands about shoulder distance. You can have the knees separated hip width apart. Press the tops of the feet down into the mat and feel the shin bones drop down a little bit closer to the floor. With the inhalation, send your gaze to the sky, tailbone lifts up, and draw your collarbones wide across the chest for cow pose. On the exhalation, press into the palms, tailbone tucks under, draw the gaze towards the navel for a cat stretch. Inhale to cow pose. Exhaling to cat pose. Come back to a neutral position, tuck your toes underneath and hover your knees an inch above the ground. Cow and cat hovering, inhale cow pose. Exhale cat. One more time, inhale cat. Exhaling cat. Then come back to the knees. Take your knees wide and big toes together. Sit back towards heels, fingers stretched forward and long, coming into child's pose. Take a moment to really elongate through your fingers. Soften through your neck and let your forehead rest down on your mat. Then walk your hands over towards the right side of your mat, side stretching through the left side. Coming back to the center, hands will walk off to the left, hips sinking a bit to the right. Walking it back towards the center, tuck the toes, downward facing dog, seat is reaching upward. As we move through the practice today, tune in and listen to what your body needs. Move intuitively. Your body has wisdom. If anything feels wrong, skip it. I'll often offer a couple of choices, but I invite you to not to overthink it. Find what works for you and feel free to tune out the sound of my voice and tune into the sound of your breath. Next inhalation, come to a high plank pose. Shoulders above wrists, long through the body. Push the mat away. Keep your neck long. Downward facing dog. Inhaling forward to a high plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Last one, we'll inhale forward, high plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. You take the right leg up to the sky. Bend your knee, open up your hip, heel work towards opposite shoulder blade. Then take your leg high to the sky and inhale. When you exhale, step your foot forward between your hands into a low lunge. Right hand will reach up to the sky, coming into a low lunge twist. Release the right hand down towards your mat. Place your back knee down. Untucking your back toes and begin to straighten your front leg, walking your hands back closer towards your hips. In half stretch, we can lean the heart forward a little bit. Drop your gaze slightly down to elongate through the neck. Bend front knee, plant hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale forward, high plank pose. Push the mat away, hugging an imaginary yoga block between the knees. Downward facing dog. Inhale to a high plank pose. Exhale, downward facing. Last one, inhale forward to a high plank pose, gently warming up our shoulders. Downward facing dog. Send your left leg up to the sky. Bend your knee, open up your hip, heel works towards the right side of your space. Inhale your leg high. When you exhale, step your foot forward between your hands. Take left hand upward towards the sky and take in a twist. Release your hand down towards your mat. Step your right foot forward to the top of the mat for ragdoll. Feet are hip width apart, so you can grab for the opposite bicep or tuck pinky finger into elbow crease. Legs can be straight or knees bent. Relax your hands down towards the ground. Interlace fingers behind your back. And draw the knuckles up towards the sky, over the head, opening the shoulders and chest. Release hands down towards the mat. On an inhalation, halfway lift to flat back. Fold forward on the exhale. Press down into your feet, and on a long inhalation, rising to a mountain pose, reach to the sky. Guide your hands to your heart center. Samasthiti, standing at attention or equal standing pose. Softly gaze to fingertips or close your eyes. And reconnect with the intention to think less, to relax the muscle of the mind for this hour, to find a little freedom, to clear some clutter. Almost imagine that this practice is like wiping clear a chalkboard of thoughts from the day. Just imagine yourself clearing the board, clearing the slate. Take a deep inhale. And when you exhale, relax hands down at your side. Sun salutation, stretch high in an inhale, mountain pose. Gazing up is optional. Folding forward on the exhale, you can swan dive your hands through the heart. Hinge from the hips, feel free to bend your knees. Head is dropping heavy. Halfway lift on the inhale, creating a flat back. Lift up and into the lower abdomen. Plant your palms onto your mat. Step back to high plank. When you're in high plank, you can practice with your legs straight or placing your knees down onto the mat. Now slide forward an inch or two. The elbows bend straight back as you lower a few inches for low plank chaturanga. On the inhalation, flip to tops of feet, knees and thighs lift up for upward facing dog. On the exhalation, downward facing dog, seat reaches high. Take a deep breath in. Exhale it out. One more here, breath in. Empty it all out. Step or hop your feet to the top of your mat. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. On your exhale, step or hop it back. High to low plank, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, exhale. Breath in. Exhale out. Breathing in. Empty it out. Step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain. Fold forward, exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or hop, Chaturanga. Breathe and upward facing. Downward facing, exhale out. Send your right leg up to the sky as you breathe in. On your exhalation, draw your knee towards your nose, shoulders forward. Inhale, leg is high. Exhale, knee to the nose. Inhale, reach your leg high. Exhale, step your foot forward between your palms. Place your back knee down and untuck your toes. On an inhalation, sweep your arms forward and upward for a low crescent. If you find this is too intense for the hip flexor, we can have hands on the thighs. We can also have hands on yoga mat. Couple more breaths. And really draw the inner thighs towards one another to stabilize. Beautiful. One more inhale. Then when you exhale, plant your palms. Three-legged downward facing dog. Take your leg high. Then set the foot down onto the mat. Left side, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, draw the knee to the nose. Inhale, reach it high. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, step your foot forward between your palms. Place your back knee down, untuck your toes. Reach the fingers forward and upward in low crescent. Press tops of foot or top of back foot into the mat. Inner thighs hug. Lift tall through your fingers. One more inhale. On the exhale, plant your hands. Three-legged down dog. Release left foot to the mat. Take a breath. When you've emptied it out, step or hop to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Inhale, mountain Tadasana. Sitting back into chair pose, Utkatasana. In chair pose, right away, airplane your arms. Put your palms face up and hug your shoulder blades together. You can have your feet hip width apart in chair, or some prefer feet together. What's really beautiful about a yoga practice is you can try things on. You may notice day to day, things feel different. Right? So never hesitate to adjust for what you need today. Next, inhale, the arms reach up to the sky. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. On the exhale, step or hop it back. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take the right leg high as you breathe in. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Inhale, rising up into Crescent Lunge. Back heel is lifted. Arms reach overhead. Imagine that you're hugging a yoga block between your palms, pressing through your back heel. Steadying the pose by picking your focal point or yoga drishti. Next exhalation, take airplane arms, power lunge, torso leans forward. Reach through your fingers and press through your back heel. Hover your torso above your front leg to recruit more lower body strength. Inhale, the arms reach up. When you exhale, plant your hands, step back to high plank. If you'd like, you can skip the low plank, Chaturanga to up down. We can hold the plank. And we'll move to downward facing dog. That is always an option to hold plank. Take your left leg upward. Exhale, step left foot forward. Inhale, crescent lunge. Feel as if your feet are resting on a little railroad track instead of a tightrope. And you can press through your back heel, lift up through your back quadricep. Imagine that you're squeezing a yoga block or a soccer ball in your palms overhead. Next exhalation, take airplane arms, lean it forward. Reach through your fingers, hug shoulder blades, elongate spine and gaze down. Lower ribs drawing up and in. Breathe in for crescent lunge, reach high. Exhale, plant palm, step back, high plank, hold or chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take your right leg up to the sky as you breathe in. We're going to flow now. Exhale, stretch it forward. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale, reach to crescent. Plant hands on the mat, step it back, plank pose. Low plank. Up dog, inhale. Down dog, exhale, left leg high. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, crescent. Airplane arms, exhale. Inhale, crescent lunge. Plant your hands, step back. Elbows bend straight back to lower into low plank. Upward facing. Downward facing. One more time. Your right leg high. Step it forward. Inhale, crescent. Airplane arms. Breathe in tall crescent. Exhale, high plank to low. Up dog, inhale. Down dog, exhale, left leg high. Step it forward. Inhale, crescent. Airplane your arms. Inhale, back to crescent lunge. Plant your hands, step it back, high plank pose. Lowering down. Upward and downward facing dog. When you arrive at down dog, know that you can hang on in down dog to catch your breath. You can take a child's pose. If you want to lay in Shalabhasana from this point on, congratulate yourself. You made time for your practice, yeah? Anywhere that you're breathing and you're thinking less, that's a yoga practice. Send your right leg up to the sky and inhale. When you exhale, step your right foot forward. Inhale, crescent lunge. Take a tall twist. Right arm is reaching back, and left arm reaches forward. Expand wide across the arms. I like to hug the inner thighs toward each other. It just gives a little bit more access to the twist and more stability for the pose. Keep the back leg straight and strong. Next inhalation is warrior two. Spin yourself open. When you get to your warrior two pose, you can bend and straighten the front leg. And then finding the place in the pose. Sometimes challenging yourself and playing your edge helps you to think less. And as your mind is more focused on the muscles burning and working, maybe focused on your breath when it's not as easy to breathe. Next exhalation is extended side angle. Take your elbow to your thigh. Left arm is going to reach overhead towards the wall in front of you. This elbow that is onto the thigh, press it down into the thigh bone and see if you can elongate through the spine a little bit more. Reverse your warrior. Stretch back with an inhale. Now reverse warrior, you can gaze up to the ceiling, more of a front body stretch. You want to look towards your back foot, we can get a really nice side stretch. Whatever feels like more challenging, I think is a good choice to take. It means your body needs it. Half moon pose, take the right hand forward in front of you. You can place it on top of a yoga block. You can also place it on top of your shin or the mat. You're sliding about a foot or so in front of your toes. Peek down and see if you can straighten out your bottom foot and then reach tall through your left hand. We're coming into standing splits next, so begin by bending your right knee. Release your left hand down. Bend and straighten your right knee a couple of times. And the last one, push the floor away, working the right leg a little straighter. Left leg is lifting high, and then crown of head is going to reach down towards the floor, maybe forehead towards the shin. Just drop the weight of your head, let it hang heavy. Imagine that all the thoughts you had today are just tumbling out of the mind. Bend your knee, plant your palms, step back, high plank pose. When we get to high plank pose, prepare for side plank, slide the right hand forward an inch or two. Slowly roll to the right, push the mat away, and take your left hand high. And we can start to work the top leg upward. Maybe bend your knee, step it behind you for wild thing. Reaching forward, maybe reaching down towards the ground. If you come into wild thing, challenge yourself to come back to side plank. High plank pose is next. Hold here or Chaturanga. Upward dog to downward facing dog. Take a breath. You want to let out a sigh. Feels so good to think a little less. Take your left leg high and inhale. When you exhale, left foot steps forward. Crescent lunge. Hug inner thighs towards each other. Stabilize the pose, engaging the thigh muscles. Then take your tall twist. Left arm back, right arm reaching forward. If you hug inner thighs toward each other, it just creates a stability. So then you have freedom in which you can explore your twist. Warrior two, create a big cartwheel, a reverse cartwheel or something like that. Warrior two pose. I like to just drop the shoulders sometimes, kind of shake off the shoulders, shake off the day, and then reach the arms up, front thigh sinks. Softly gaze out beyond your fingertips. And notice if you're present. And if you're not present, try to deepen the pose a little bit to kind of come to your edge more. And then feel your, yeah, there you go. Feel yourself really here. Move into extended side angle, elbow can be on thigh. Right arm is reaching overhead. Push the left forearm down. Okay, and then we're trying to lift up and out of the left hip crease a little bit. And then reach forward. Reverse the warrior on an inhale. Choosing the version that's a little more challenging, where we have to pay attention to our breath, maybe paying attention to not going too deep within the pose, finding that just right. Half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. Left hand can slide forward if you want to use a yoga block. Yeah, right arm's reaching up. Now, see if you can keep your bottom foot straight. What that'll do is it helps to open up the hips. It also helps to strengthen your inner ankle, the arches of your feet. Standing splits is next. We're going to start by bending the left knee. In this transition, I always recommend starting with your knee bend because it protects where the hamstring and glute connects, so you don't have like an injury there from overuse. You can do a little bend and straighten. And then once you're ready to, push the floor away, straighten the right leg higher. Really draw the forehead down. Bend your knees, step back, high plank. Side plank of Shalabhasana. Bring your big toes together. Left hand slides an inch or two forward. Roll it to the left and reach up with the right hand. Maybe we're floating the right foot up, bending the knee, stepping it behind you, come into Wild Thing. Wild Thing, make sure you find your way back to side plank. High plank pose. Once you're steady, we can lower it down to Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in and breathe out. Gaze forward to the hands, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale's half lift. Exhale, folding. Rising up to mountain pose, Tadasana. Take it back into airplane pose and arms back like chair pose with airplane arms. And lean torso forward. So once we come into our chair pose, both feet on the ground. I was giving you a little foreshadowing because we are going there, but we're not quite there yet. So here in chair pose, the arms are back like airplane wings. Now on the inhalation, move to mountain pose with your left knee lifted up to your chest. Imagine you're hugging a yoga block above your head. Begin to straighten the left leg, push the foot forward, strengthening the hip flexor. Hold 3, 2. Now bend your knees, send your arms behind you. Airplane pose, Shalabhasana. Imagine that you're holding the yoga block behind you between your palms and press through your heel. If you want, you can try to level your shoulders. Come back up to one-legged mountain, reach up, knee lifts, hands come to the heart. Pause for a moment, breathe. Shift to the other side. Sweep the arms upward for mountain pose. On the exhalation, sit back, chair pose, airplane your arms. And send your gaze down, the lower ribs lift up and in. Play your edge a little bit. See how low you can go while maintaining your breath. And of course, if it's not feeling good in your knees, tune into your body. Listen to its wisdom. On the inhale, rise up into a mountain pose. Push your right knee upward. Squeeze your imaginary block above your head with your palms and kick your right foot forward, strengthening the hip flexor. Here for 3, 2, send it back. Foot reaches back, arms reach back for airplane. And lean forward. Reach back through the arms, hug your shoulder blades together. Come back on up. Mountain pose with right knee lifted. Hands come to the heart. Pause. Keep your arms upward on an inhale. When you exhale, hold it forward. Planting your hands on the mat, walk your feet back a little bit. Okay. And then once your feet walk back, we're going to play with our crow pose. So you can come down into a squatted position. In crow pose, have your hands a little wider than your shoulders. Imagine that the tips of your fingers are Velcro pads and you're kind of sticking your fingers tips to the mat. The middle knuckle on especially like the first 2 fingers might float up off the mat. This helps to give you a really strong foundation. Elbows bend straight back. Place your knees on the back of your arms. I like to go close to the elbow because I have short limbs and a long torso. Maybe you're the opposite and you're going to have your knee really high up by your shoulder. Now move forward onto your palms. Reach the top of the head forward like you're trying to touch the wall in front of you with the top of your head. Eventually, one foot lifts, the other foot feels light. Keep your sticky fingertips gripping the mat to help you balance. Finding a yogi squat when you're all done. In yogi squat, you can turn your toes out, lower your hips down. Knees are pointing in the same direction as the toes. You could place hands at the heart, elbows gently draw the knees a little wider as thumbs work towards the heart center. Now push into the feet, draw the inner thighs together and slowly come up to standing. Reach the arms up. Place your hands at your sides in front of you. Walk towards the top of your mat. Arms are going to reach out to shoulder height and then flip your palms face up. Eagle pose is next. Take your right arm, rather take your left arm. Left arm goes under. You grab outside of shoulders, across at the wrist. Sit back into a chair pose and cross your left leg up and over. Toes can touch the ground, outside of the ankle or inside. Now unwind your leg. Make your way into an airplane pose with your eagle arms. Then step back, keep your eagle arms, but step it back into a warrior two. Humble warrior with eagle arms. Lift up through your elbows and fingers. On the exhale, draw fingertips down towards the mat. Shoulders hug inside the front knee. Chin can work towards chest, breathing into the upper back. Rise back up on an inhale. Unwind the arms. Nice work. Straighten your front leg. For triangle pose, toe heel your back foot in and in half a foot closer, like 6 inches closer. We're reaching forward, releasing down. Take the right hand to the shin, ankle, or you can reach for the mat, left arm is high. Now, something that I find to be more comfortable in triangle pose is to take the left hip, the top hip, and let it drop down a little bit, and then slide the right hip back. Yeah. From there, it's usually a little bit more available for me to reach for the mat. But know that there's no goal. It's not better to touch the mat. It's just what's available today, what helps you to keep exploring your edge. Some of us naturally are more flexible. Some of us naturally are stronger. Our yoga practice helps us to find a balance. Come up slowly. Once you get up, place your hands on your hips. Take your back foot in another half a foot closer. Revolving triangle pose. All the toes are going to point towards the front of the mat. For revolved triangle pose, left arm is reaching forward in front of you. Right hand is on your hip. Reach forward with your left hand. You could place your hand down on top of a yoga block, or maybe your shin, maybe the mat. Then open up across the chest and send your right hand to the sky. Looking up is optional. It's a wonderful way to challenge your balance. Release your hand down and come into a pyramid pose. In pyramid pose, both hands are on the mat or yoga blocks, folding over the front leg. You can have a slight bend to the knee or a big bend. Maybe it feels okay to have your front leg straight. Bend your front knee, step forward to the top of your mat. Inhale is halfway lift. Exhale, forward. Rising up to mountain pose on an inhale. Then take your hands at your sides, palms face forward. Pause for a moment. Eagle pose, Garudasana. Keep your arms out of shoulder height. Flip your palms facing up. Right arm goes underneath the left. Option to grab the shoulders or cross at the wrist. And sit down and take your right leg up and over. Once you've crossed, you can take the toes maybe to the outer ankle or inside if that's available. Moving into airplane with eagle arms, send your leg down. And shifting yourself back into a warrior two, keeping eagle arms, humble warrior with eagle arms. Lift up through your heart and fingertips, and then we'll bow forward. Reaching fingertips down towards the mat. Slowly rise back up. Open your arms up, straighten your front leg. Shorten your stance by a half footprint. Triangle pose, reach forward, releasing the hand down. In triangle pose, engage the quadriceps, the muscles on the front of the leg. Press evenly through the sole of your front foot. Then see if we can stretch the crown of head away from tailbone. Reach the right hand up, almost so much that the bottom hand becomes really light. Next inhale, come up to standing. Place your hands on your hips for revolve triangle. Step your back foot in a touch closer. Point all the toes forward. Okay, so the hips are fairly square to the front of the mat. Right arm's reaching out. Reach forward. Hand could be on your yoga block, the mat, or shin. Now reach up through left hand. I personally always like to float my toes up, pushing into the big toe mound of the foot, but lifting the toes up engages the quadricep, stabilizes the pose, and also deepens the hamstring stretch. Hand releases down, coming into pyramid pose. You can fold over your front leg, working chin a little closer to the chest. Bend your knees, step forward to the top of your mat. Once you get to the top of the mat, loop your big toes with your two-piece fingers. Bend your elbows away from your heart and let your head drop down. Big toe pose, hinging from the hip creases. We're lifting the lower abdomen upward, which really supports the low back. We'll move a little bit deeper into our hips. Come to a halfway lift on an inhale. When you exhale, step your left foot back into a low lunge. Place your back knee down. For winged dragon pose, walk your right foot out and forward. Then let the knee wing away from your heart to the right. You could roll to the outer edge of the right foot. Another option is to take your right hand and place it on your quadricep. Roll it away from the heart. Send your gaze behind you. Bend your left knee and reach back to capture your left foot. I personally like to be down on the forearm in this position, so you can explore a little bit. You can even place a yoga block underneath your left palm. And release the back foot. Walk your right foot now all the way over towards the left side of your mat. Once you are there, begin to flex your right foot, working the right leg a little straighter. Now slide the right hip back and turn your heart towards the middle line of your mat. Begin to fold forward from there. Begin to bend the front knee, walk your foot to the middle line. Plant your hands. We're going to step back into a three-legged down dog. Send your leg upward. Open up your head. Release the foot down. Transitioning from the back this time. Inhale the left leg high. On the exhalation, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Coming into that wide lunge. Place back knee down. Keep scooting your left foot forward. And then we'll roll to the outside edge of the foot. You can bend your back knee, reaching back with your left hand to capture the foot and keeping the hand on the quad. Here is a great time to feel more and think less. When we overthink poses, sometimes we overdo them because we place expectation on it. Truly, the pose is simply a shape we take in which to feel something. Not too much that we can't breathe or that we're clenching our teeth, and not feeling so little that our mind really drifts. So finding enough feeling. All right, let's release the back foot you have in. Come up to hands. Walk your foot over towards the right side of your mat. And then once it's all the way to the right edge of the mat, begin to straighten the leg, flexing the foot. Move your heart towards the middle of the mat and fold forward. Or fall over. Bend the front knee. Work your foot to the middle. Plant your hands, come back, three-legged downward facing dog. Take your leg upward and open up your hip. And release the foot down. All right, you guys, we're going to work a little bit of core strength. Coming into downward facing dog. When you're in downward facing dog, you'll take your right hand and reach across to tap your left ankle and back. Left hand reaches across and back. Cross the right to the left ankle and back. If you need more intensity, take your feet wider. Keep going. We have 30 seconds. Good, last one. Come back to the center. Come into a high plank. Place the knees onto the mat and lower all the way down. When you get all the way down, you can take a moment to breathe. The arms can be long. Flip a cheek onto the mat, whichever one's comfortable for you. Close your eyes, deeply breathe. Place the chin onto the mat. Arms are long at your sides. Let's begin with the palms facing inward. Feet hip width apart for Shalabhasana, Locust Pose. On the inhale, begin to lift the upper body up. Reaching the fingers back. If you want, you can float your feet up as well. Keep lifting. See if there's room for you to reach back a little more through the toes and fingers. Release it all down. Gaze in the opposite direction of last time. Feel your breath. Notice how it changes the shape of your body from the inside out. Second locust pose. Chin is on the mat. This time, palms face up. Feet are hip width apart. With the inhalation, lift up chin, chest, legs. Reach back through fingers. Triceps could lift higher, maybe calf muscles lift a little higher. And then relax it all down. Gaze in the opposite direction of last time. Closed eye. Bring your chin back onto your mat. Bend your knees, drawing your heels in towards you. Reach back to capture your feet for bow, Dhanurasana. So this is like an archer in a bow, like pulling back an arrow in a bow. Begin to kick your feet into your hands. And then once you've kicked as far as you can, start to float the thighs up. You could roll forward a little bit. And tune into the sensation. You'll know when you found that place that's too far in the pose. Be shy of that place. Yeah, and then breathe. Relax everything down. Softly gaze to one side. We have one more of those beautiful bow poses. Bow is not only a back bend, but it stretches a lot of muscles on the front body, which become tight in modern life, and having to sit or do a lot of office work, studies, driving, or simply just when we find ourselves having poor posture, those shoulders and chest muscles get tighter and tighter. So let's open them back up. Bring the chin onto the mat. Bend your knees, reach back for your feet. If you want, you could slide your hands down towards your ankles. Kick feet into hands and lifting up. This time really pay attention to the kicking and allow your chest to widen, your shoulders to drop back. Feel the stretch there through the shoulders. One more lift and release everything down. Melt onto your mat. Lay your cheek down. You could start to windshield wiper your heels side to side. Do a bigger windshield wiper. All right, and a somewhat intense pose called Shoelace Pose is next. To start Shoelace Pose, we'll want to come into Sphinx. Sphinx is up onto the forearms. The elbows can be under your shoulder like mine are. You can also bring them forward if you'd like a little bit more gentle arch in the back. Whenever you're doing Sphinx Pose, I really recommend gazing slightly down, maybe like a foot or so in front of your mat until your neck feels neutral. Now, for the shoelace pose, you're going to take your left hand and slide it forward a little more. Right arm goes underneath and place your right shoulder on the mat. Now, you can do a half shoelace where you take your ear or temple down. If you want to try for the full shoelace, you're going to walk your left arm over as well, like you're trying to cross your arms like shoelaces. Yeah, exactly. And then from there, you can rest. I personally like to have a yoga block. I know sometimes it's hard to know, though, when you've already come into the pose. You can always come out, take your block, and then find your forehead resting on the block. And this is a place to really recognize if you push yourself too far. I mean, are you in a place in the pose that you can breathe and maintain a little equanimity or calm abiding? Have you disassociated from the pose, maybe even checked out of your physical body completely? Come back in, notice what you're feeling. If it's too much, we can adjust a little bit. We have 3 more breaths. Roll a little to the right and take your left arm out. And then roll a little bit to the left to take the right arm out. Come back to Sphinx Pose. What I find is many yoga practitioners, even myself, if a yoga class is labeled hip openers, I'm there. Like, I want to be there. But shoulders is a whole other thing, right? It's intense, but it's okay. You're not the only one that's like, woo, right? Our shoulders are carrying the weight of our world, literally. All the things that we've been thinking about that have been weighing us down. Take your left arm underneath and really kind of scoot it over so that your shoulder is almost at the middle of your mat. And then you can try to cross your right arm over like you're tying a shoelace. If you'd like to slide your block back and work forehead down. Be here, really be here, breathe. You notice that your mind begins to get busy, come back to the simplicity of your breath. Maybe even narrate the stretch, like talk yourself through where you're feeling it, what it feels like. Is there a color? What is the size of the sensation of feeling? When you come out of the pose, you roll to the left, so you can slide your right arm up first, and then let's roll opposite side. We're doing a counter pose, which is called Spatula Pose. Begin with your left arm extended out. Your right hand is under the shoulder, the elbow is bent. Begin to roll over onto your left extended arm, and here you can step your right foot behind you. If that does not work for your low back, feel free to stack your feet or keep the right foot. Some people like to extend the right hand upward, bring it behind the back. Maybe getting a little double duty stretch or more intensity. Reach right hand up, rolling over like you are a crepe that is ready to be flipped by a spatula. Or maybe it's a Swedish pancake. Or, I'm trying to think. I guess it's Oktoberfest. I don't know if Germans have like a pancake. I know pannkuchens, but I don't know. Yeah, anyways, take your left arm forward. Bring your arm behind you if you would like to. Again, use the wisdom of your body to tell you like what is too much. And maybe even notice like this calming sensation of having set down so much that we were carrying in the shoulders. Our bodies hear every single thought we have. And our nervous systems are reacting to our thoughts. So let's go ahead and roll it over. And then once you come back to the center, place the hands underneath you. Go ahead and ease yourself up into tabletop position. Come onto your seat, lie back, and grab your yoga strap. Make sure it's at the back of your mat. And once we lie back onto our backs, we'll have a happy baby pose. Grabbing the bottoms of your feet, let your knees be wide. Roll them side to side. And so what's sort of this idea that our nervous systems are reacting to the thoughts that we have, and when we're having like worried, anxious thoughts, our body is producing stress hormone, preparing for fight, flight, or freeze. With that knowledge, we can choose to redirect our thoughts to conscious breathing anywhere at any time. You do not need to have a yoga mat rolled out to breathe deeply. You can be driving, in a meeting. Okay? You can be anywhere and bring your attention to your breath. Let's draw the knees into the chest. Take your arms out like a capital T. Softly gaze to the right and drop your knees towards left side of your mat for supine twist. Come back up to the center with the knees. Drop the knees to the right. And the supine twist, gentle, easy twist. If it feels uncomfortable, we can adjust by putting a yoga block between the knees. Keep this calm and easy feeling as we draw the knees back to the center. Send your left leg long onto the mat. Take your right foot up to the sky, and you can hook your yoga strap over your right foot. Start to draw the leg straight back towards you, flexing the foot and pressing through the heel. Breathe steady, even breaths. Hold the strap or your foot in your right hand only. Left arm extends out at your side. Draw your foot back a little bit, then over to the right to stretch the inner thigh, inner leg. Hold the strap tight enough so that you really support the weight of the leg. And then come back to the center. Grab the strap or the foot with the left hand down. Right arm is extending out at your side like a capital T. Draw the foot back a touch and then over to the left. If you pull on the strap, it will definitely intensify. And come slowly back towards the center. Release the strap off the right foot. Send your right leg long and pause for a moment to feel. Observe and notice the feeling through the right side, the left. Maybe noticing how much longer your right foot feels, your right leg feels than your left leg. Well, let's make sure to do the other side. So send the left leg upward. And you can place your strap over the sole of the left foot. Reach the leg back towards you. Push through your heel. Observe how as you hold and breathe, the sensation becomes more mild. Hold the strap just in your left hand. Right arm reaches out pull the foot back a little and then over to the left, opening up the hip. Come back to the center. Strap moves into the right hand. Draw the leg across the body to the right. We'll come back to the center. Release the strap, set it beside you, and take your left leg long. Adjust your hands so they're comfortably at your sides, palms turned up. Shavasana, resting pose. Feel the sensations in your body. Noticing the sounds and the space around you or the music you're listening to. Breathing gently in and out. Breathing more, feeling more, thinking less, sinking into stillness, sinking deeper and deeper. If you have additional time, I invite you to remain in your Shavasana and savor this deep rest you've arrived at. If you'd like to exit the pose, begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Slowly stretching your arms above your head, feeling how great your body feels, maybe how clear your mind feels. Then bend your knees and roll to your right side, resting your head across your arm. Slowly rise to a cross-legged seated position, bringing your hands together at your heart center in a prayer position. Feel as if you have cleared the slate of your mind. Every breath you took, every movement, you cleared every thought from the day. Now with that clear space, we can find that sense of peace. Take a deep breath in. When you exhale, bow forward. Namaste.